Hi, I'm Joanna Penn from thecreativepenn.com, and today we're talking about why the Hunger Games series from Suzanne Collins is so brilliant. And this is the last one in the series, Mockingjay, which I've just read. I'm sure many of you have read, and it's absolutely brilliant. So I was wondering, what makes these books so fantastic? First of all, the basic story is of Katniss Everdeen, and the books are written in the first person, so we're inside her head, and she basically gets chosen, or puts herself forward for the Hunger Games, which is where children have to fight to the death on reality TV because they are part of the districts that were conquered by the Capitol. And basically their every move is watched on this TV series, the live games, and they have to kill or be killed in order to survive the arena, which is sort of made up of all these awful traps, and the death body count is amazing. I mean, it's just, pretty gruesome, the amount of violence in these books. There's like a civil war, and Katniss is basically goes from being, a girl who's put into these games into the symbol of the revolution of the people who are oppressed by the Capitol. So that's kind of the story, and one of the biggest things immediately you can tell is the high stakes that this book is about. So they're personal high stakes because it's Katniss's own life, it's her sister's life, her mother, her family, her district, and also the human race of this world of Panem that we're talking about. So the stakes are incredibly high. The stakes in the games are high, but also for all the characters in all of the books, the stakes are very high, and many of them die along the way, so don't get too attached to the Then about the characters, they're actually incredibly compelling. Now, Katniss herself is a sort of flawed protagonist. She has some amazing characteristics. She's very brave, she sacrifices herself for her family, but also she can come across sort of quite mean and unwilling, and she's not an entirely likable character, which is perfect because she is the heroine, and she does I won't tell you the end of the story, but basically she performs all these different roles, and she does transform into the Mockingjay, which is the symbol of the revolution. So we do learn all about her sort of trials along the way, but the characters, other characters like Peter, the boy from the baker's shop who goes with her into the arena and who's with her for her journey, he's very well painted. Gale, her old friend. Many of the bad guys are sort of done very well, and some of the Capitol, who are considered the evil ones, some of those characters are sympathetic and lovely and Katniss's friends. So you really get a sense of there's no real distinction of evil or good. The characters themselves are incredibly compelling. I'm also a thriller fan, so I think that's why part of the reason I like these books is the pacing is incredibly fast. There's literally no stopping. There's no sitting around waiting. Sometimes you get some more thinking scenes, like when Katniss is in her destroyed district looking at the houses, but most of the time it's sort of bam, 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 next thing happening. Certainly in the arena, it never stops, because if you stop, you're dead, basically. So it's an amazingly fast-paced story, which I really like, and I think that helps the crossover, and clearly it's going to be a movie. It's so cinematic and visual. And finally, I think it's because the story tells about grand themes and mythological themes, war and sacrifice and death and, friendship and all of those things in the face of an individual experience. So it tackles massive themes on a small scale. So we see it from Katniss and several other characters' point of view, but pretty much, we're talking big stuff, big life-changing stuff told by individual characters. But those mythological themes are very interesting. I watched a video with Suzanne Collins where she talks about getting the idea when she was watching an Iraq war video and also a reality TV show, like flicking through the channels, and that gave her the idea. And also the idea of the tributes was from the legend of the Minotaur in ancient Greece, in the Minoan civilization, where these two had to go into the den of the Minotaur and were sacrificed for the good of the people. So she blended all of those ideas. So as writers, we've got to be looking at that, sort of picking ideas from our environment, from history and myth, and blending them into a brand new story that is just original and fantastic. So I absolutely recommend The Hunger Games and Mockingjay, which is the last one, and you should definitely read them, both as an enjoyable experience and also to learn a lot for your own writing. So thank you. This is Joanna Penn from thecreativepenn.com.